Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 229 of the MTG Goldfish podcast. I'm Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and we have the full crew here this week, kicking things off with the owner of MTG Goldfish, Richard. How's it going this week, Richard?
Hey Seth, I'm back, hopefully with the correct microphone this week. For some,
you sound good to me.
I sounded good to you last week too because I was wearing my headset. Discord was using my headset, but the local recording, which we use for the podcast, was using my laptop microphone. So awkward, but hopefully we have it straightened out just in time for Core Set 2020 previews.
Oh yeah, we have plenty of new cards to talk about, but before that, we also have Krim. How's it going today, Krim?
Hey Seth, it's going well. Pretty excited for all the things we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, so we have a lot of spoilers. Apparently, apart from the 3 random Chandras we got, like, almost a week ago now, apparently we're doing this whole spoiler season in about 1 week. I think it's going till next Monday. So that means even though it's day 1 of spoiler season, we have like a million cards to talk about it. So that is kind of plan A for the podcast, talking about sweet new Core Set 2020 cards. And then if we have time, might talk a little bit about Mythic Championship III that is happening this weekend out in Las Vegas. And then wrap things up, of course, with your fish mail. But let's start with the fun stuff, which is new Magic card. So, Richard, why don't you guide us through some spoilers from Core Set 2020?
All right. Core Set 2020 M20 releases July 12th. So, in just about a month from now, we got a bunch of spoilers, or I guess 3 to be exact, last week. And then today, Monday, is when preview season starts in earnest. So, we kicked things off with, I guess, the coming of age of Chandra, where we have 3 Planeswalker Chandra cards at uncommon, rare, and mythic. And, we had questions, would they continue with the uncommon Planeswalkers? And the answer is yes, and not only that, but our Chandra has a +1 ability. So, Chandra, Novice Pyromancer, uncommon, 3 in a red, 5 starting loyalty, +1, elementals you control get +2/+0 until end of turn, -1, add red, -2, Chandra deals 2 damage to any target.
I mean, I think you kind of hit on the big deal. I think the card itself, it's an uncommon Planeswalker. It's probably cool if you're playing like Elemental Tribal casually. I don't think it's really a real competitor for like Standard, but I kind of thought that Planeswalkers and Uncommon was just a War of the Spark thing. So I think that, for me, is the biggest takeaway, that Wizards is apparently okay with continuing, at least in some cases. They did say this is the only Uncommon Planeswalker in the set. They're not doing this for all the Planeswalkers in the set or anything. But they are okay with printing Uncommon Planeswalkers and giving them plus abilities. So kind of groundbreaking, even though I don't think the card itself is something that's really going to see heavy play.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, this card's, like, cool, like, art-wise, everything, but, like, I don't think it's really that good either.
I mean, it ramps, deals 2 damage, it synergizes with your other Chandras.
For 4 mana.
Right. Next Chandra. We're going through the rare Chandra, who, like, got cheaper, right? Like, this is not mana efficient, like 4 mana, 5 loyalty, whatever. Go down to 3 mana Planeswalker. Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, 4 starting loyalty, 0, put a loyalty counter on each red Planeswalker you control, 0, create 2 1/1 red elemental creature tokens, they gain haste, sacrifice them at the end of the beginning of the next end step, -2, you may cast target instant or sorcery with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard. If that card would be put in your graveyard this turn, exile it instead.
This one's sweet. I really like Chandra, Acolyte of Flame. I think I mostly like it because it's a really unique planeswalker. It's very much not like the normal planeswalker archetype, so I am concerned that it doesn't really protect itself. For some reason, the rare Chandra is the one that can't actually gain loyalty, which is a little bit awkward. The tokens it makes can't stick around on defense, so they're just like purely attackers, although I guess they're kind of cute with uncommon Chandra if you make them into like 3/1s and get in there. That's kind of fun. But I think that the -2 ability is really strong. Like, it's kind of a double Snapcaster almost. Like, if you consider, especially in a format like Modern, like, you're flashing back cheap spells with Snapcaster anyway. You're usually going to be casting things that are CM3 or less. This is just 2 Snapcaster activations, and that doesn't even include playing it in like some sort of mono red planeswalker tribal, like with Sarkin, where the 0 to like buff the loyalty on your planeswalkers is pretty powerful. So I think this card's actually pretty neat, especially for the -2.
You have to pay for the -2, right?
You do have to, just like Snapcaster, basically. Yep. Think of it like a Snapcaster. You do have to pay the mana cost for the spell. But
wait, does the first 0 put a counter on itself? It does, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it kind of does.
The 0 is like a +1 because she adds a counter to herself. And I don't know if I said 3/1 elementals, but they're 1/1 elementals.
Yeah. You were like thinking there was a Chandra Novus Pyromancer already on the battlefield.
I was thinking they're like
because you're already ready to play.
But no.
Look at that curve.
I think this Chandra kind of sucks. I don't want 3 mana sorcery speed Snapcaster that doesn't protect yourself and makes really weak 1/1s like that 0, like, yeah, you get in for 2 damage if they're wide open, right? So you really need to use that first ability to pump your other planeswalkers, but I don't know what you're doing with, like, you're curving out with planeswalkers that don't protect themselves, and then you're trying to pump them up. So I actually like the uncommon one better than the rare one.
Oh,
like, what do you do with this?
I think the rare one's decent, right? Like out of the sideboard or something of red deck, maybe.
The other thing it can kind of do is the 0 ability. The first one does kind of line up well with certain planeswalkers, like Chandra Torch of Defiance comes in at 4, and you're trying to get her to 7 for the ultimate. So if you can like have this Chandra on the battlefield, play Torch of Defiance, plus Torch of Defiance, 0 Acolyte of Flame, next turn 0 Acolyte of Flame, ultimate Torch of Defiance, like that, it speeds up your ultimate clock. Or like Koth is similar, where it starts at 3 and goes to 5. So maybe there's some shenanigans. With
so if you have a planeswalker, you're winning already. You can play this win more card.
I just like ultimating planeswalkers. What can I say?
Okay, here's the thing. This is like the first planeswalker we've seen, I guess, that sucks with doubling season.
Think of all your Snapcasters.
You can ult immediately, even without doubling season.
Yeah.
It's -2.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to my favorite Chandra. Chandra Awakened Inferno. 4 red. 6 loyalty. This spell can't be countered. +2. Each opponent gets an emblem. At the beginning of your upkeep, the emblem deals 1 damage to you. -3. Chandra deals 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. -X. Chandra deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. If a permanent deals damage this way, would die this turn, exile it instead.
The card is
busted.
Absolutely amazing.
So it can't be countered, and then it gives you an emblem as a +1 that pings you. So really no interaction here if you want to dirtle. You're gonna get a clock placed on you.
Yeah, I really hope they add emblem hate eventually. Like, that's the thing that annoys me most about this card is it's a very aggressive emblem. Usually, like, emblems are not too problematic because you actually have to ultimate your planeswalker to get one. But this just comes down, it goes up to 8 loyalty and gives you that emblem. It's gonna survive most likely because 8 loyalty is a ton. You're getting in like the Ugin, Karn Liberated range where you have these expensive planeswalkers that just, they're so hard to actually beat down with creatures because their loyalty is so high. This seems like a very strong control finisher, at least in standard, and I don't think it's impossible that even like Jeskai Control in Modern could play this as a control finisher.
It's just, yeah, like, it's absurd that these emblems will stack. Oh, plus.
I mean, you're most likely getting 2 emblems on you unless you immediately kill this, right? Because it comes down, you get an emblem, and then it's at 8 loyalty. Like, good luck attacking with creatures, like, to kill this. And if you have creatures, Chandra can just wrath, right? Or can just kill them.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about Acolyte of Flame not protecting itself. This Chandra, oh boy, it protects itself from everything. Like, if your opponent's going wide, the -3 takes care of that. If your opponent has a big creature, the -X can probably take care of it. I guess, like, unless you're up against Elemental Tribal, then you might be in some trouble. But otherwise, this Chandra, very good at protecting herself. And while it's not super fast, the emblem is a very guaranteed win. Like, if you can survive for several turns, that is going to win the game.
20 turns.
Well, you get more than one eventually, but
All right. How about if you had a Chandras Regulator? It's 1 in a red. When you activate a loyalty ability of a Chandra Planeswalker, you may pay 1. If you do, copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. Pay 1, discard a mountain card or a red card, draw a card, legendary artifact.
Well, the first ability is not what I'm really looking into. The second ability, once again, something you could use when you're flooding out in red.
It's just a loot, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
turn your dead mountains into like a potentially better card, and you can also
or a red card.
Yeah.
So as long as it's red,
like lava coils against, I don't know, Super Friends decks. Turn that into something else. Who knows? I mean,
I think
but you can get 2 emblems.
it's just so narrow.
Yeah, it's
like,
very narrow.
I think it's powerful, but you really need to be close to mono red to make the rummaging effect work, and you've really got to be like close to Chandra Tribal, I think, to make the Chandra text work. So I think it could be powerful in a very specific deck, but you got to be really focused on the things that Chandra's Regulator cares about to actually make the card, I think, worth playing. I don't know. I'm not sold on the just playing it for the rummaging effect in a red deck. Maybe out of the sideboard, I guess, if you're really concerned about like flooding out or something. So I don't know. I think Chandra Tribal is going to be fun and people are going to try it and it's going to be like a cool against the odds deck, but I don't know. I'm not sold on Regulator.
All right, check this. It's a legendary artifact, right? So if you draw duplicates, it's bad, but you can loot it to itself.
That seems like...
Remember the time when Chandras were bad?
That sounds like the Tybalt argument. Like, oh, it's you can discard other copies to itself. It's great.
Hey, Tybalt's good
you
now.
You can draw your Chandra Novice Pyromancer and then loot herself away because you don't want
so,
it.
I gotta ask you guys, what do you think, before we move on to other non-Chandra cards, what do you think about the idea of this? Showing one Planeswalker growing up or whatever, evolving. What do you think like, just this idea in general? Is this something you think is good? Would you like to see it in future sets with other Planeswalkers? I mean, from what we've seen so far, this is a Chandra set. And we've had, like, Face Walkers before that are the focus on the set. And maybe have an extra card that adds to it. But we have, like, 7 or 8 Chandra cards in the set. Chandra's Spitfire, Chandra's Embercat, Chandra's Regulator, 3 Chandras. And this is just day 1 of spoilers. So what do you think of a set so heavily focused on a single Planeswalker character?
I think it's interesting. I like this so far. But I don't know, maybe I'm the ideal market that they want to send this because I think Planeswalkers are sweet. And I'm still not tired of Planeswalkers, so.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I like that it's a Chandra themed set. I would have wished I knew it was a Chandra themed set, right? But I like it because you get to see Chandra, like, different abilities, and, you know, there's supposed to be a power progression here as she gets more mythic-y and, you know, better, and I like it. I would like at least, like, the non-sparked version, like the 1-drop Chandra as a creature in here as well, just to finish this off.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm fine with it. It's different, it's unique. I probably wouldn't want to do it every set, but I think it's cool to have a set that's kind of, like, focused on one character. And core sets are a good home for that, because you don't have as many, like, story restrictions or whatever. Also, interesting that we just a week ago or so got the news about the Netflix show, which had Chandra in the one bit of art that they put out to promote the show. So do you think it's tied to that? Do you think they're looking ahead to the Netflix show and trying to boost Chandra because she's going to be one of the main characters in it?
Avatar: Awakened Inferno.
It's just they're planeswalkers. We're gonna see lots of planeswalkers in their sets and then in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or not movie, Netflix show.
Let's talk about some non-Chandra cards. We've been focused on Chandra so far, but there are a lot of sweet cards in this set. So,
all right, how about an Ajani? Ajani's Strength of Pride, 2 white, 5 starting loyalty. When you gain life, or +1, you gain life equal to the number of creatures you control, plus the number of planeswalkers you control. -2, create a 2/2 white cat soldier token that's named Ajani's Pride Mate with whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Ajani's Pride Mate. 0, if you have at least 15 life more than your starting life total, exile Ajani's Strength of Pride and each artifact and creature your opponents control.
I gotta say, I think outside of Wizards itself, Magic Arena has done more for Ajani's Pride Mate than probably any card in Magic. I kind of had forgotten about that card, and then it was in an intro deck, then it's reprinted, and now we have a Planeswalker that makes Ajani's Pride Mate, so I think this card's kind of cool. I mean, life gain is a fun theme, especially with new players, with casual players, and this seems like a perfect planeswalker if you want to build some sort of white-black life gain deck. Is it gonna be a top-tier standard deck? I don't know, maybe. We'll see what support cards we get, but I think this is gonna be a popular planeswalker. It's got cats, it's got a life gain theme, it's really cool, so I expect this to be at least a casual hit.
Yeah, I don't think I'm playing this in standard. I don't know. Is there even enough life? What life gain is there in standard? I mean, yeah,
you plus 1 Ajani. That's the life gain.
Yeah, but I don't know if I really like that +1, to be honest, on its own. It's just cool. I can gain life equal to my creatures and planeswalkers, but I like the 0. I think the 0 is pretty cool.
Yeah, it takes...
0 is impossible, though.
It takes some life gain to get there, but if you're...
You need a life linker, a big life linker to actually do this, probably.
I think this is a card... We kind of got to wait and see what we get... what Standard's going to look like after rotation. I don't think we have enough pieces right now, but we probably will get more support pieces. And the -2 is powerful. You make 2 2/2s that are probably going to grow much bigger. Ajani's Pride Mate is a powerful card in the decks that are built around it, so we'll see. I think I'm waiting to see for the support cards.
On turn 4?
Loses to Tybalt, feels bad.
Yeah, I guess turn 4 that is a question. You can potentially gain a lot of life with the +1 ability, maybe 4 or 5 life in a chunk, and the Pride Mate does protect Ajani to some extent, so maybe?
I don't know, this is a little too slow.
I'm a little disappointed because it's 4 mana Mythic Ajani, and then this happened.
Ajani Vengeance and Pride Mate or what? Not Ajani Vengeance and the Hero Caller or whatever. Are those the 2 only good? Yeah, Mentor Heroes. Those are the actual Johnnies that got played, right?
Oh no! Oh wait, Adversary of
Tyrants.
Oh
yeah. Well, okay, but I mean, I feel Adversary of Tyrants is just kind of super. It got played in some small pockets. That's about it.
It's more a sideboard card, I think. You bring it in against control. Mentor of Heroes, I think, saw really fringe play. The new Ajani hasn't really seen play hardly at all. Greatheart. So, yeah, I guess the Ajani's are a little hit and miss historically in terms of playability.
Historically, Ajani's have just been he's cool. But
I mean, Gideon and Tybalt, or not Tybalt, Gideon and Elspeth are usually the quote-unquote good white planeswalkers.
Right. Okay.
So a little sad for Ajani, but maybe we'll get more versions of Ajani in this set. We have 3 Chandras, and we can get 3 Ajanis. They said no.
Yeah, I think they confirmed no, but maybe they're gonna trick us.
But maybe they make life gain a thing.
That's possible.
All right. Let's talk about some mythics. We have Cavalier of Flame. 2 red. 6/5 creature elemental knight. 1 in a red. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. When it enters the battlefield, discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards. When it dies, it deals X damage to each opponent and each planeswalker they control, where X is the number of land cards in your graveyard.
I think this card's legit. I think, I don't know if you guys actually like it. I kind of got the, maybe I'm the only one that likes this card, but a 6/5 for 5 is above the curve. You can play it in like the top end of some sort of aggressive deck. Play this on 5, turn 6, triple pump to give all your stuff +3/+0 and maybe win the game. It does something right away. So even if it dies, like worst case, you loot away a couple of extra lands that you've been holding on to or whatever, which gives you some value right away. And then, if you build around it or get some lands in your graveyard, you're gonna like deal some damage to stuff. Maybe if you get a lot of lands in your graveyard, you can like wrath a board full of planeswalkers, which would be pretty sweet. I don't know. I think like the combination of legit stats and just like a ton of random abilities might be enough to make this good.
But triple red, that's...
Seth's gotten over the edge. It's too much against the odds.
It's a 6/5.
If you paid 5 mana and looted like 2 cards, would you be happy? Like, 5 mana 6/5 does not. Now, if this thing had haste, we might have an argument, but it does not have haste, right? But for the cost of 7 mana, I guess you could get haste on the turn it enters the battlefield. But it's a 5 mana 6/5. Dies the Doomblade and then like deals like 2 damage.
That's the Doomblade.
It's
right. It lets you loot a land or 2 like as it comes in. But you know, if you do you have any lands anymore at like 5 mana? Like I don't know about this.
I mean, I'm not saying
it definitely needed haste.
I could give it self haste only for 2 extra mana.
7 mana.
Like let's think about like Hellrider, Hero of Oxid Ridge, or I don't know, any dragon like Thundermaw, Storm.
Also,
what was the Storm Dragon? The 5 mana
Stormbreath.
Stormbreath Dragon, and then you have this Elemental Knight here. Which one would you rather cast?
I mean, it's also, you just said Elemental, which we know is a sub theme of the set. So maybe
Chandra pumps it.
Yeah, I mean, then yes, then it's a 8/5. Look out. Look out with your uncommon Chandras.
You could play with History of Benalia and then just rely on History of Benalia winning the game before you have to cast this card.
But it also gets pumped by Benalia, so that's even better.
Yeah.
What about a Commander? I feel like Wizards has spent the last year trying to make up for messing up the Lord Windgrace deck. And like every set, they're like printing cards that they know should have been in the Lord Windgrace deck last year. Cause it feels good. With the like lands in and out of your graveyard theme, you can discard lands, you deal damage for it. Like, do you think it has any potential there?
It's so much work. You need to like dump your entire deck in your graveyard. So your deck normally plays like 37-ish lands. So to one-shot someone, you need your like entire deck and hope they shock themselves.
Yeah, I guess. All right. Maybe it's not as good as I hope, but I still think a 6/5 for 5. That's a big body.
What is our? Like, you get like a 4 mana 5/5 in green for like uncommon nowadays, like pretty easily. Like I don't know. All right. How about Scheming Symmetry, black sorcery? So it's 1 CMC sorcery. It's a rare. Choose 2 target players. Each of them searches your library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts that card on top of it.
Please don't play this fairly. Please, I'm begging you.
So sorcery speed, vampiric tutor style. You choose 2 players. You must choose 2 players. It's not up to.
Okay.
You must choose 2 players.
Have you ever played Marlin of the Morn Song? The like legendary black 3-drop that lets each person like not draw and instead they get to tutor each turn. This has the same problem. Like, the problem with this card is if you play it fairly, it's a sorcery. So you cast this, you and your opponent both tutor, your opponent gets to use that card first, and then they kill you, or they make you shuffle your library, or something goes horribly wrong with your opponent getting the first tutor. So I think this card is just stone unplayable if you're playing it fairly. On the other hand, if you can like play this and then opt the card into your hand immediately, or like Teferi to draw the card immediately, then it could be sweet, or Teferi to cast this at instant speed, it could be sweet. So I think if you build around it, it can be powerful. Imagine in Modern, you like cast this, Thought Scour, mill the Emrakul you put on the top of your deck, and like Goryo's Vengeance it. Like there are ways you could make it work, but I don't think you could just play this like a Vampiric Tutor. Outside of Commander, maybe.
How about Field of Ruin?
But that makes you shuffle too.
Ooh.
That's a misplay.
Feel silly now, don't you?
How about Ghost Quarter?
I mean, you could play New Jace, and then plus target them, mill them, you draw the card. Wow, look at that value.
Wow, that's it. That's
There
the dream
it
right
is.
there.
Going off.
I mean,
Actually, I think this is my favorite card we've seen so far. It is Commander game changing. Like, how many times have we asked, like, hey, can you target me with a tutor so I can fish up the answer in my deck? Well, now you can, provided they go after you, right? Like, and it's 2 players. You can actually choose 2 people. So if someone has something, like an enchantment or, some kind of, lock piece in, and then like a bunch of creatures, you can target 2 players. Player A removes problematic part 1, and then player B cleans it up. So I actually really like this for Commander. I think it's game changing.
I think it's really good in Commander too. I love political cards like this, and you're very right. This is a card where people are always like trying to team up, answer something, and being able to get a little value for yourself for the next turn while also giving the player next to you the ability to wrath or whatever seems really powerful for just a single mana. So I think it's really good in Commander. Outside of that, I don't know. I guess it's probably like literally the best card ever for Two-Headed Giant, where you can target your teammate and yourself, and you both get to tutor, but no one plays Two-Headed Giant anymore, so.
Really? Oh. I thought that was at least at pre-releases.
Maybe. I mean, if they are doing any pre-release, I would snap this off super quick in your draft or in your sealed pool. You definitely want to play it into a Giant.
I'm waiting for the ultimate anime betrayals. Like, Seth, can you get a Wrath? Sure. And then you just teeter up
Greed.
Piece and win the game on the spot.
It would be Greed.
Tutor up Greed? All right. Wait, we need to deal with this board. I'll just draw a card.
Yeah, I could draw into the answer, so hold on.
Well, I have the sure thing.
All right. Next up, we have a rare Dread Presence, 3 and a black, so 4 CMC. It's a 3/3. Whenever a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, choose one. You draw a card and lose 1 life. Dread Presence deals 2 damage to any target, and you gain 2 life.
I think this card is pretty decent anyway, but I mostly just want to try to build standard Scape Shift and like Valakut people. If you could get 10 lands and have this out and Scape Shift into 10 swamps, that's 20 damage. That's basically one of the best decks in Modern, but in Standard. So format's broken now. Look out. Dread Presence Scape Shift.
You just need to ramp yourself to 10 lands, okay?
Easy. No worries.
Also, I don't think Scape Shift was the best deck in Modern for a minute.
It's a legit deck in Modern. I guess
It
deck
is
is probably
a deck,
not
yes.
true. I mean, what do you think about this card outside of janky combos that I will play in against the odds? Is this card legitimate just as a value engine?
I mean, chromatic black, right? If that's still legal. You bring this in against red deck.
Yeah.
And then it just dies to like a lightning strike, but whatever.
This might be a bad comparison. What do you think of comparing it to like Tireless Tracker?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, except this costs 4. So the dream with Tireless Tracker is like you play Tireless Tracker, you play a land, you crack it, you have 2 clues, or a fetch land. So you could do the same thing with Dread Presence, and you draw 2 cards, but now it's like better. You don't have to pay the 4 mana to crack your clues. But it's a 4 mana 3/3.
Yeah, it's a 4 mana 3/3.
If it was a 3 mana 3/3, we might be talking.
Yeah, if this were 3, I definitely would really like it. I like it a lot more. I don't even know how, like, if I would, I'd maybe play it if it were a 3 mana 3/3. More likely. I don't think I like it. be honest with you, I think the card's not that great.
It's really
it's really slow. It's 4 mana.
I think you need to combo with it. What did return to? What was the black return? What did it do?
Finale?
No. The BFZ enchantments.
Oh, I think it drained for 1 and I can't remember the second option. Did it give something death touch? I don't know. Something that was one of the worst ones, I think. I remember it drained
This
for
reminds me of the BFZ things, right? Where you play it and then you just get incremental value, but except it's on a creature, so it's going to die.
I mean, if it sits on the battlefield, it's going to run away with the game. If you're playing like a mostly swamp or all swamp mana base and you're just like drawing an extra card every turn or shooting something down every turn, I don't know how high the odds are of it sitting on the battlefield because it does die to basically everything right down to like lightning strike. You can do the tireless tracker trick though and like play it as your 5-drop sort of and like play it and make your land drop right away so you get at least some value, but man, that's a lot more than 3. Like the difference between 4 and 3 is really huge, I think, as far as like competitive play.
Yeah. And plus like I play this on 4 and then if like 3 fairy bounces this back to my hand, it's like, okay. I don't feel great about what I've done so far.
But then you play it and play your swamp and kill the Teferi and get your revenge.
Deal.
Deals damage. It's not lose life. Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't feel great. But alright, yeah.
Alright, let's talk about the Buy a Box promo. Reen? No idea. Angel of Rebirth. 2 red, green, and a white. So 5 CMC Naya colors. 5/4. Legendary creature Angel. Flying. Other multicolored creatures you control get +1/+0. Whenever another multicolored creature you control dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step.
So, quick rules confirmation. The way that last ability triggers, is that like Feather, sort of, where it's a delayed trigger? So as long as Reen or whatever was on the battlefield when the creature dies, it's coming back? Or does it have to remain on the battlefield the whole time too?
Level 1 Judge Crim.
Level 1 Judge Crim that lapsed and he barely reads his own cards. Okay, I think it, all it cares about is that it died when Reen was on the board, and then like Feather, and then the trigger will happen. Okay,
so like if you had this out with a big board and you got Wrath, you should get back your non-Reen creatures, essentially.
Maybe. I would also ask someone that is more...
Yeah, I don't know either. I think, I don't know. This card seems like one of the better buy a box promos.
It's not Nexus of Fate.
Nexus of Fate. It's not Nexus, but compared to like some of the 6 and like 9 drops we've been getting, this seems a little bit closer to standard playable. We have a lot of multicolored cards. Like you can build like multicolor Naya if you want to, and have almost every creature in your deck be Gruul Spellbreakers and whatever Amaras and all like really good multicolor cards.
Yeah, you could even play New Niv Mizzet. I mean, you add 2 more colors on this. Boom, you're drawing a lot of cards.
What do you think about Commander, Richard? Like, is this a popular Commander?
I don't know. Do we have a Naya Angel at the moment?
I would guess we do, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know. This card kind of sucks and it's boring. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something positive to say. I can't think of anything.
It has flying. That's pretty positive.
I think I'm the positive one. Richard's the negative one, and then Crim just cares about Esper cards. Every card is judged through the context of how it works in Esper.
No, I am not, because I like some other cards that are not in Esper colors. This one is just also a little boring. It's a little boring. I agree with that.
Let's put it this way. If we were dishing out commanders for Commander Clash, I would be finding some excuse of getting out of playing this commander.
It is kind of boring.
It doesn't do anything. I mean,
I would go for...
I don't know. And you have to have multicolored creatures. It'd be interesting if it was permanents. So you could get back your multicolored permanents.
I thought you wanted to pump your multicolor, like, artifacts and stuff. I was like, that doesn't seem that helpful.
Yes. But like planeswalkers, like if you can get back your planeswalkers and things like that, that'd be cool. But...
All right. Well, I mean, I guess it is a buy a box promo. We yelled at Wizards very loudly about Nexus of Fate, so maybe it's good that it's not going to break anything and just like a nice little bonus for new players that want a cool angel or a an angel. Let's drop the cool. An angel. The new players that want an angel.
You know what's cool? That 1-mana 1/1 angel from Modern Horizons. This is an angel.
All right. Let's talk about a legendary Sphinx. Adamsis at Ateamsis. I can't. All these names are so hard.
Yeah. Oh, tell me about it.
All-seeing.
I think it's
Adamsis. 3 blue, 4/5 flying. 2 and a blue, tap, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Whenever Ateamsis all-seeing deals damage to an opponent, you may reveal your hand. If cards with at least 6 different converted mana costs are revealed this way, that player loses the game.
I think this card's hilarious. It is the win-moriest of win-more cards. You're like, hey, I just got in damage with my big flyer. I have at least 6 cards in hand. You're dead.
This is like a blue Phage the Untouchable, right?
I think this seems like a really fun against odds card. Like the problem is I don't know if there's really any way to build around like the 6 different converted mana cost things in your hand other than just like playing a solid curve and drawing as many cards as possible. I don't know if there's really any trick to pulling that off.
You don't want to play a solid curve. If you play a solid curve, it'll be really hard to have 6 different cards.
Yeah, okay. Yes, a curve with a varied curve with a bunch of different converted mana costs.
Mono blue Tron. You play this. For some odd reason, you chose not to cast your Karns and all these other things because you wanted to show people you still had all of these.
I actually think this is fun for Commander, though. Like, this is a card in a Commander game. If my opponent had at least 6 cards in hand, I would be petrified. Like, I would know in the back of my head, like, odds of them having 6 different converted mana costs are pretty low. But no one's going to want to take a hit from this, just on the off chance that they could randomly lose the game. And it's not combat damage. So if you want to go deep, you can, like, I don't know, put a sorcerer's wand on it or something and try to ping people into the win.
What's that card that returns a card of each CMC from your graveyard to your hand?
Seasons Past. Combo. It's a combo.
So I think you need to do, like that would be a non-janky way of using this. Like, you could draw your whole deck, but if you drew your whole deck, like, did you really need this card to win the game? But drawing your whole deck would be another way to make sure this thing triggers. Seasons Past. I don't play a lot of delve cards. I don't know.
The split cards help too. Like, that's another way you can have expensive cards or cheap cards that technically have high converted mana costs.
Yeah.
It's fun. I don't think it'll ever see play anywhere. But as far as
I wish you won the game, though. You don't even win the game. You just make the other one lose.
Draw your whole
in
deck,
Commander, you go through all this work and kill one person.
Would happen.
I mean, in 2-player, like, making the opponent lose is pretty much the same as winning.
Right. But in multiplayer,
maybe more satisfying.
What if they like Angel's Grace or I don't know what's a card that doesn't let you lose the game that turn?
Teferi's Protection.
What if you take the hit for some reason, just for fun, and then
make them have it? I would take the hit. I would take the hit every
protection.
time. Make them have it.
It does tap to draw cards, like 3 mana to essentially like chart a course. That's
a fail. It should 3 mana divination.
Yeah,
I guess it is a like 6 mana 4/5 flying. That may be too strong, but it's weird.
Does this also feel like intro pack rarity to you?
Yeah,
or is it better than that? Like, it's a core set.
I think it's the best. It's the best one we've seen so far. Like, it's bad, but at least it's fun and unique. Whereas Rianne is just like, I don't know. I don't like it. This one, at least you have some fun against the odds style deck you could try to build to do something interesting with.
Yeah, that's true. I really like this card because I just love alternate win conditions like that. But as far as like seeing, like you're the Esper guy, Krim. This is in your wheelhouse. Is this going to be your finisher once Teferi rotates? Are you going to be the same people?
Good thing I have a Tempsis to replace Teferi.
It's about the same power level.
This also gets bounced by 3 fairy. It just feels so terrible. No. Oh, to answer you, no. This is not going to my deck. I can see me trying to meme around with it though.
Okay, yeah. I think that's where this fits. A good against the odds card, a good meme card. Probably not a tournament card.
Mono Blutron once again, Seth. Against the odds. Make it happen.
Oh, this triple blue cost, no problem. All right, that's all the cards we want to talk about. There are a ton of cards. Spoiler season this time around is just 5 days, according to the Wizards article. So we're getting tons of cards every day. So make sure to check out mtgpreviews.com for all the latest previews from M20.
So we're going to jump into fish mail in just a minute, but before we do, real quick, we have a Mythic Championship coming up this weekend. Mythic Championship III happening in Las Vegas and kind of a unique pro tour or Mythic Championship. It's actually structured and set up a lot more like the Mythic Invitational than a traditional pro tour as far as like how they're doing the formats and like the round robin double elimination type stuff, having some invites going to streamers to go along with MPL and some arena qualifiers. So what do you guys think about Mythic Championship 3? Are you hyped for this tournament? What are you looking for? What's your feelings on MC3?
I'm excited to watch it. At least because, I mean, the casting team is pretty solid. It's the same casting team pretty much from the Mythic Invitational. And I'm just excited to see the production again, like, and see everything that they're going to put into this big event.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling. So I'm very excited about the production, the players, and the casters. What I'm not excited about is the timing of this event, right? It's on the tail end of Standard. It's not after a set release. We're seeing the same best of 3 Standard that we haven't really talked about in like a month or two. Like people don't care about Standard at the moment, right? They're hyped on Modern Horizons and then the new Core Set 2020. So I don't know, right? I'm excited to see Mythic Invitational style events, but this timing is weird, and calling it a pro tour like a Mythic Championship is a bit weird. Like, I don't understand how it fits into all of this. But the tournament itself would have been sweet if it featured, say, Modern Horizons, or if it was right after the release of Core Set 2020. But I just don't want to see War of the Spark Standard at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same place. I'm sure the production's going to be great. The players are going to be great, all that. But I'm kind of just in a modern mood because of Modern Horizons. I haven't been playing much Standard since Modern Horizons came out. We're like heading towards rotation. The new set's not going to be out. So I don't know. Like, I'm not super hyped for watching a weekend worth of Standard at this point in time. So the timing strikes me as weird. I'm sure the production's going to be awesome though. So that part is cool. But yeah, I miss the old days where it was like release a set and then a couple weeks later have a Standard Pro Tour. I was always super hyped for those. But now, like, even like in general on Twitch right now, like Standard's just not interesting. People aren't really excited to watch Standard. Like the Standard streams are kind of, numbers aren't high. It's summertime, other stuff's going on. So it seems like less than ideal timing to have a Standard Pro Tour.
Yeah, and I wish they tied it to at least an event, like, you know how they tied it to PAX East previously. Now it's just kind of like an actual Pro Tour where it's a standalone event, which makes it less exciting. Part of the hype of being at PAX East was all of the ambient crowd noise and all of that. So we'll see how it goes, but at least it's best of 3 double elim. Is that right?
I believe, yes, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Like round robin, double elimination type thing.
I am interested in seeing more double elimination Magic. I think it's a pretty interesting format, and it like every match is basically a win in. Like you have nothing to give. As you're going through the brackets, you have only one match to lose, which makes it interesting. So we'll see.
This is also we'll get like if like you're winning through the MPL, you're automatically into day 2, right?
Yes. 4 MPL players get buys into day 2.
I'm kind of excited to see what happens with that too. I think it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I guess it's good that there's an award, but I think I don't know. It's a pro tour. It's only 60 some people, so maybe it doesn't matter. But I think like in general, the community is like not super happy about buys because it feels like unfair that random pro gets to like take the first 3 rounds off and count them as wins. And buying to day 2 at a Mythic Championship, that's a massive buy, but it will be interesting to see how that plays out. And I guess there should be some reward for doing well in the MPL matches.
Correct. Because, like, I mean, like, that's something that that's one of the few rewards that we do know about if you do well in the MPL, right? Like, and like obviously being like invited back, hopefully.
All right, here's the real check whether it's a real pro tour or not. Okay. When you list a player's resume and they say, we had this many Grand Prix top 8s and this many Mythic Championship top 8s. If you top 8 this event, does it count?
Yeah. You get Mythic points.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure it counts. Like
yeah, it should count, right? But it's only a 64 player tournament as opposed to what a regular pro tour would be.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique setup. It feels, apart from the name, it feels very similar to the Mythic Invitational, like as far as the setup and stuff. So I kind of wish they had just called it a Mythic Invitational. Like structure wise and player wise, it's so similar that I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of like burnt out on organized play at this point, with it being so like confusing and not really understanding what's happening. So I don't know about organized play in general right now.
Mythic Organized Play Tournament 1.
1.
Just go to your why does everything have to be mythic? You get mythic points, you go to mythic qualifiers, mythic qualifier weekends. Like there's just too many mythic words. They could have found a second word to describe things.
Could have just stuck with Pro Tour. That worked for 25 years.
All right. Let's move on to fish mail. So if you have questions, send them to @MTGGoldfish with the hashtag MTGFishmail, and we'll get to your questions on air. River Birdman. Quick question about fall rotation in Modern. Do you think Wizards is going to abandon Modern for a new arena-friendly Eternal format in the fall? They abandoned Extended before, so it doesn't seem that far-fetched.
No. I mean, eventually, perhaps, but this fall, I think the chances of that are pretty close to 0.
Yeah, Modern's still pretty popular, right? Like, I mean, like, it's a super popular format.
Yeah. I mean, I think we will have a new format on Arena at rotation. They reconfirmed that during their live stream last week, that there will be Standard Plus or whatever, but at this point, I don't think it's a Modern replacement.
Yeah, I don't think they'll replace Modern anytime soon. The question to me is like, say 3-4 years down the line, when both formats are pretty established, like, do they prioritize one in the way that they prioritize Modern over Legacy? But they'll never come out and say, yeah, today Legacy is dead or today Modern is dead. I don't think they'll ever do that. V Thorsby, Arena is pretty brutal these days. What are good budget best of 3 decks?
Budget is the problem. I think like, I guess mono red, or you could try mono blue again. Like, I still run into mono blue on the ladder every now and then. It like absurdly like rolls me because my deck is super not trying to like play against like a million spell pierces. So
yeah, this is not a great standard for budget.
Yeah.
All right. Empty car. Enjoy your discussion of what's fair/unfair. Got me thinking, anything that could be disrupted by Lavinia or Containment Priest is unfair. Can you define a deck as unfair if it's possible to hate it out?
Yes, because I would still say like Dredge, though you can technically hate it out or whatever, is unfair.
But you can hate out if you come with like 8 wraths, you're hating out every creature deck, right?
8 rack?
No, 8
Oh,
wraths.
8 racks. I was like, 8 rack. Hold on. I don't think you're hating out anything except for like maybe control players.
Me?
Like if you have 4 Pyroclasms, 4 Wrath of Gods or whatever, right? Like no creature deck is
hold
gonna
on.
beat
That hasn't
you.
been a wrath in a million years. Hold on, let's
Just making sure you cash like the little go wides and then the big, the big decks. So I don't know. I think it's a fairly complicated topic. We never got a conclusion, and then based on the comments from the podcast and stuff, people are all over the place on this fair unfair business.
Yep. Fair magic is one of the most gray area terms you could also probably
Just Tarmogoyf, waiting for the days he becomes unfair.
Tarmogoyf is fair. Tarmogoyf is too fair, actually.
Did you read some of the old posts about remember when Tarmogoyf was still good? People are like, oh, this card.
This card's unbelievably broken.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Philip Favlak. The Asian Avenger. What do you think of a Vesperlark in the side of Bant Infect? Get back your Blighted Agent for basically the same price you would have paid for him.
That is very, very interesting. But at the same time, like, what do you cut from the deck, right? Like that's been the issue. I've been trying to spice it up. Okay, we don't cut that. Okay, then there's no reason to go Bant, right? Like that's the whole reason why you go Bant. And plus, you already know Teferi plus Infect is just like, I win now, right? Because you're not doing anything. But I do not like the idea of like the list is so tight. I'm not cutting any more pump spells. I don't think we need it really, because you have outside of Wrath effects, right? You have spell skites and you have your 8 protection spells. You only need to get up to 10. I think hopefully you can stick something. Like I don't think it's worth, personally.
If you wanted to do that, Unearth might be a more efficient option too. Like it doesn't necessarily work in Bant, but there's been some Sultai Infect decks running around a little bit.
Plague Stinger.
So if you really are interested in getting back creatures, that might be a little bit more efficient as a way to go.
Yeah, but that once again, that would require you to go into Sultai, and I don't know. I don't really like the idea of Sultai. I mean, like it was nice, like having like discard spells out of your Infect deck. I thought that was interesting, but I don't know if it's worth. I like Bant more.
All right, next question. Urza Takaria, would a Spell Pierce for creatures be any good? I wish I could do that. Krim,
yes.
Would you play a Spell Pierce for creatures?
I would play 4 of those.
Would you really, though?
Actually, hold on. I wouldn't play any counter
What if you're
spells
playing
right now?
against a
Never mind.
creatureless deck?
Too many Teferis.
Yeah, too many 3 fairies. I got to respect that card too much.
I think in general it'd be a very good card though.
Yeah.
It might even be, I don't know if they print that, like a 1-mana creature counter.
Well,
Wizard
unless they pay
seems more
2.
okay with,
Unless they pay 2.
Yeah. Wizard seems like to be more efficient with hating on like non-creatures than creatures. So I would actually be surprised if we saw a creature Spell Pierce.
I mean, there's Quench. That's 2 mana.
That's true. But that's the difference between 1 and 2.
is pretty
Is
major.
a bit.
It's pretty major.
So after that last fishmail question, apparently Richard lost power, so he is gone. And the good news is that was our last fishmail for the week anyway. So we are going to wrap things up for today. If you want to get in fish mail for next week, send them to us, hashtag them MTG Fish Mail, and we'd love to answer them for you. So yeah, until next week, thanks for listening. Krim, thanks for hanging out. Richard, wherever you are with no power, thank you as well for hanging out. We'll be back next week. We should have pretty much the entire set, of course, at 2020 to talk about. So until then, have a wonderful week, and this is the crew signing out.